Twajivunia sana tukijiita wa Kenya, nchi yenye baraka. Kenya nchi yenye baraka. Tumekomboa Kenya, taifa letu tukufu, tumebadili mwendo. Tutalinda katiba mpya. Anayependa Kenya ni yule mwenye kutenda haki kwa watu wote. Mtu mwenye kutenda haki. Na ukipenda Kenya ujitengane na mambo yenye kuvuja.
We call the meeting to order. Thank you very much. In front of us are the leaders of all the organizations that you can see in the billboards that we have provided on the left. This is the Dialogue Reference Group, and this is our third convocation. We'll circulate a list of the leaders who are here in front, and we welcome you, our brothers and sisters from the media, for this press conference. With us is the chair, Archbishop of Mombasa and chair of DLG, Archbishop Kivuva, who will lead us in the press statement. Welcome, Chair.
First of all, I'd like to thank God for this occasion. This Dialogue Reference Group has been here for the last 2 days. They are the members of Hindu Council of Kenya, Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops, representatives, National Council of Churches of Kenya, the National Muslim Leaders Forum, the Organization of African Instituted Churches, Seventh-day Adventist Church, Supreme Council of Kenya Muslims, and the Evangelical Alliance of Kenya. We've been at 2 days here, thinking, dreaming, praying, and we realize this country, there's a lot of fears, there's also a lot of hopes, and we have come up with a statement which we want you to share with you, our Kenyan people. We want to thank God for where we are. We also want to remember at this particular moment, for many people have gone through very challenging moments due to the COVID-19 issues, deaths of different kinds, accidents. And we want to pause, first of all, to pray with them and for them, and thank God for all those who are supporting the sick and those who are working in different places in aiding those who are in difficulty, those who are in flood areas, those who are suffering the drought. These are issues that are part of our country, and we can never forget. More so, those who have lost their dear ones, we want to remember them today. And we pause for half a minute to pray for the dead and ask for God's consolation for those members of the families who have lost their dear ones. May the souls of faithful departed, and especially members of our families who have gone to the Lord due to different issues and call to yourself, Lord, have mercy on them and grant them eternal rest. Amen. So my name is Archbishop Martin Kivuva Musonde. I'm the Archbishop of Mombasa and currently also the chair of the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops. And I chair at the moment also the Dialogue Reference Group, the churches and the bodies that I've just mentioned before we began. We welcome you to this communique, which we are talking about securing of elections 2022. We are telling Kenyans, get ready for the elections of 2022. They are nearby, it's not far. We are told it's the 9th of August 2022. And our communique, this is our third religious leaders convocation, which we have had. We started quite early in 2016 as a body. We have seen the election 2017, 18, and we are back again at this early year month, January, and we want to walk with Kenyans once again. We are grateful for what has gone well, but we are also challenged by what has not gone well, and we know God is a God who cares and loves us. So we are very hopeful that all will go well despite the many issues we undergo, and even the many things we have to bear sometimes for the sake of our country. There are people out there protecting our country in different ways, going through very challenging moments, the KDF and others, security people, but there are also Kenyans who are suffering due to some aspects of our own making, perhaps. So we, the religious leaders, gathered, and from around the country gathered here in Ufungamano House on the 19th and the 20th January 2022 to assess Kenya's readiness for the August 9th, 22 general elections, and we make recommendations on existing gaps. The delegates in the third National Religious Leaders Convocations were inspired by the scripture recorded in Nehemiah 2, verses 5, which reads, if it pleases the king, and if your servant has found favor in his sight, let him send me to the city of Judah, where my fathers are buried, so that I can rebuild it. That is Nehemiah 2:5. He's asking to be sent. We also have a Quran reading from Surah Al-Asr 103, which reads, should recommended to one another the truth and the patience. Should recommend to one another the truth and patience. The convocation we have had recognize that the moral and the social structures of our nations are threatened and require rebuilding to secure elections of 2022. Are we ready? Therefore, the question is readiness for the elections of 2022. The convocation is deeply concerned that the nation is apparently not ready for the elections of 2022 corruption, impunity, lawlessness, insults, incitement, and violence are happening with abandon, and Kenyans are sinking deeper into a despair and depression. It is a great pain for Kenyans that the political leaders have deliberately neglected to address the issues of electoral justice, which expose the nation to a repeat of pre- and post-election violence and crisis witnessed in the past. It is in this context that this third National Religious Leaders Convocation has considered different aspects of readiness of the elections and now share the following message and action points. Prayer and fasting. Religious people always think of prayer. They want to start with a prayer. The convocation recognizes that the nation is a very precarious situation with real danger of sinking into violence before and after the 2020-22 general elections. We call all Kenyans to commit to prayer, fasting, for the nation so that God intervenes and safeguards the lives and the well-being of all. It is this regard we ask each individual to select one day a week when they will fast and dedicate time to pray for the nation. On our part, we will organize prayer sessions where we will welcome election-related institutions. We will be sharing the schedules in due course in our different churches and places of worship. Electoral legal framework, we looked at it. Are we ready this side? The Convocation has noted that there is work pending in Parliament to fine-tune the electoral legislative framework. Of note is the need for the completion of the Campaign Financing Amendment Bill 2020 framework for realization of the realization of two-third gender rule, the political party primaries bill, and others, just a few. Towards this, we committed to engage parliamentarians at the local level, to mobilize them, to prioritize the election-related laws that are required at this moment. This will be in addition to reaching out to concerned institutions to ensure the laws are implemented and adhered to soonest possible. We urge you, we ask you to go back to Parliament and finalize these. Electoral institutions. The Convocations recognizes that the elections management institutions in Kenya are heavily impeded from executing their mandates. We have committed to support Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission, IEBC, to deliver the quality of elections envisaged in Article 81 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. Towards this, we will do the following. A, we will pray and offer spiritual pastoral support to the staff of IEBC and the electoral institutions at a national, county, and sub-county levels. B, advocate for IEBC to enforce the Electoral Code of Conduct firmly. We will seek appointment with the Inspector General to emphasize the absolute need to assurance of protection of election officials and immediate arrest, prosecution of proprietors, and the physical assault of election officials in Dagoretti North, Vihiga, Mandera, Kisumu, Matungu must not be repeated. We talk about security institutions of our nation and structures. The Convocation is deeply concerned that the security institutions of our country are clearly and progressively losing control of the situation in the country. The violence in Lamu in mind, Laikipia, Kerio Valley, Marsabit, Samburu, Isiolo, and the dozens of bodies retrieved from River Yala and other places are a pointer to this. The National Police Service has been accused of favoritism, disregard of rule of law, and gross human rights abuses. We have committed to engage the Inspector General, as well as the security agencies on national, county, and sub-county levels to advocate for equal application of the law. We will seek to meet the Cabinet Secretary for Interior to discuss the security arrangements before, during, and after the elections, because we are at a local level where our churches, where our people live, so some of us have certain information they may want to hear. Citizens' readiness and capacity. The Convocation recognizes that the weak link in the democratization of country is the lack of civic and voter education of our people. This is driving the prevailing voter apathy that results in Kenyans either absconding the elections or voting for richest candidates rather than the best qualified. To remedy this, we are committed to do the following. A, to mobilize Kenyans, especially the youth, to register as voters. Tafadhali vijana, rudini, mpige kura, jiandikisheni. Number 2, that's B, deliver civic voter education to empower the people to recognize their position as holders of Kenya's sovereignty. C, deliver messages of peace and national cohesion through our pulpits and all other public forums we have access to, mosques, Hindu temples, and other places. The political actors and other stakeholders. Number 7, the Convocation has followed the widespread impunity manifest by political actors as they engage early campaigns. Cases of hate speech, incitement, and violence are increasing. If this trend is not stopped forthwith, the political actors will foment violence before, during, and after the 2022 elections. We therefore recommend the following and are committed to it. 1, or A, reach out to His Excellency the President Uhuru Kenyatta and appeal to him to disengage from succession politics. The President is a symbol of national unity as provided by Article 131 of our Kenyan Constitution 2010. And so, he should remain above partisan politics, recognizing that he is the President of all Kenyans. We also intend to reach out to the President, Deputy President, His Excellency Dr. William Ruto, as well as other stake officers, to point out the widespread perception that they are using public resources and institutions to undertake party politics or partisan politics and early campaigns, which goes against the values exposed in Article 10 of our Constitution. C, we intend to reach out, and we reach out to political parties to inspire them to hold free, fair, and credible primaries, and especially to provide for women and youth to hold leadership in parties and vie in areas where parties are strong. D, we designate specific religious leaders to reach out and accompany political actors to provide pastoral support and also motivate them to be controlled in their sentiments. E, we will publicize and urge Kenyans to vote against any political actor who incites violence or engages in hate speech. Further to this, we engage all political actors, especially our dear presidential candidates, to accept results or address any disputes through the court of law. In conclusion, we conclude by calling upon all Kenyans to ensure and join in praying in the words of our national anthem. We all know our national anthem. E Mungu nguvu yetu. O God of all creation, bless our land and nation. Justice be our shield and defender. And the song goes on. We want to pray that may God bless Kenya and always Kenyans act justly. God bless Kenya, but bless all of you. Thank you and God bless.
Good, thank you very much, Chair. Perhaps there could be some questions from the media. Please have a mic so that everybody hears what you're asking. You can say your name and your media house as you ask the question.
My name is Alvin Mwangi. I work for People Daily newspaper. I have two questions. You have said that you are concerned that it's like the electoral agencies, they are not ready for elections. Would it be a recommendation that maybe we push the date forward? And two, you have told President Uhuru Kenyatta to disengage from succession politics. It's crystal clear that Uhuru is behind maybe the opposition chief. Are you indirectly telling him to desist from expressing his support towards Raila Odinga?
Any other question? Yes, there's no other question. So, yes? Is there a hand? I can't see the hand. Please, go ahead.
My name is Safin from Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. My question touches on the points I've heard you address. I've not heard anything that addresses what the religious, body should do. Because you've talked about partisan politics, but we've seen the church increasingly being used to advance this partisan politics. Already, we've seen certain denominations friendly to certain political candidates. There was a time there was a very heated conversation about politics being, the pulpit not being used for politics. But we see that a lot these days. It's like the church has let down its guard. It was really hyped up around a certain season, but right now we see politicians increasingly going to church for harambes and taking advantage of the opportunity to advance their political agenda. Maybe in your points, what would be your message for the religious body when it comes to what the role they need to play as we get closer to the 2022 general election?
Thank you very much. The final one? Why don't you proceed? Good, let's proceed with those ones. Yes, thank you very much for this. This statement comes after a series of meetings that we have had here. We have had group discussions, and the feedback is from the members of that attend our places of worship, and they are concerned with all the issues that this convocation has raised. One, I would like to say that this morning we hosted the Deputy CEO of IEBC, who explained to us the extent to which the IEBC is prepared. They are prepared in a great extent, but we ourselves, because we are on the ground and listening to IEBC, we still feel there is a bit of several steps that have not been done and which we have explained in this statement. Some of them are the laws, the legal framework for carrying out the elections, some of the amendments that needed to have been done. You remember that the presidential election was nullified in 2017. Some of those things that made the election of the president to be nullified have not been amended. And we are urging Parliament, once they resume this month, that they tackle them and they complete those legal reforms that are needed to make the elections free and fair. So there is still a lot to be done. But we do not